The third case is Ong Chua versus Edward Carr. So the facts is Ong Chua purchased lot 135, 136, 137, and a house on lot of 132 from Henry E. Tech and Magdalena Lim. Prior to the sale, Ong Chua granted Magdalena Lim the right to purchase lot 135 for 6,500 with 4 years and granted Henry E. Tech the right to repurchase lots 136, 137 and the house for 13,500 within 4 years. So neither document was registered with the Register of Deeds. In July 1925, Edward Carr introduced to P.J. Morey, so a lawyer, sought to buy a coconut lands. So Morey informed Carr of the lots and their repurchase right, which were expiring in June 1927. So on December 14, 1925, Ong Chua and Carr went to Morris' office and asked him to draft a deed of sale. Ong Chua stipulated that the sale was subject to repurchase rights, which Carr agreed to. Carr, however, had only 13,500 on hand and needed a loan of 6,500. So Mori, as a secretary of the Zamboanga Mutual Building and Loan Association, stated that a loan could not be obtained without clear title. He suggested a deed with Carr's title appearing absolute, but held in escrow until the repurchase period expired. And then Mori instructed his clerk to draft the deed without including the repurchase condition. Ong Chua, not understanding English, was assured by Mori that the deed contained the conditions. Ong Chua disclosed a mortgage on lot 137 to the Bank of the Philippine Islands for 6,500 at 10% interest. Carr agreed to let the mortgage stand and paid 13,500 in cash, promising to pay the balance of 6,500 with 10% interest by July 1, 1927. The loan became unnecessary, but the deed and documents were kept in Morris' custody. In September 1926, while Mori was hospitalized, Carr demanded the documents. After resisting, Mori surrendered the deed, so Carr immediately registered it. Then, in July 1926, Tech offered to repurchase, but Carr refused, claiming absolute title. Ong Chua learned that the deed contained no reference to the repurchase rights. This lawsuit was filed on July 23, 1926, seeking reformation of the deed to reflect the repurchase right. Carr died, and the administrator of his estate, Manuel Igbal, was substituted as defendant. No evidence was offered by the defendant, and the facts remained uncontradicted. The lower court ordered reformation of the deed. Issues. So first is whether the court erred in allowing Ong Chua to testify about facts occurring before Carr's death. Second, whether the facts proven justified reformation of the deed. Next is ruling. On the first issue, the court ruled that while generally a surviving party is barred from testifying about facts occurring before the death of a deceased party. This rule is not absolute and should not shield fraud, since incredible witnesses testified to Carr's fraudulent conduct. The court found no error in allowing Ong Chua testimony after Carr's fraudulent intent was established. And then on the second issues, the court found that the deed was delivered in escrow with Mori, and the existence of the escrow condition could be proven by parole evidence. Then the court also found that Carr's conduct in obtaining the deed prematurely and registering it was fraudulent. This constituted a case of mistake on one side in Ong Chua and fraud on the other, that is Carr. So, justifying reformation of the deed, the court further ruled that the sale of the property was subject to the repurchase rights and upheld the lower court's decision to define those rights. So it also upheld that the principle that the pendency of lawsuit told the repurchase period. Then the appeal judgment was affirmed with cause against appellant. So that's all. Thank you.